Okay, so I was experiencing a lot of depression this morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a Bible reading. Um, and I'm gonna just, like I do before, flip through the pages and whatever page I come to will kind of, you know, guide me in the right direction of what the vibe is and what the energy is of, this moment today, this morning. And we are going to see what's going on with the vibrancy. I like this Bible because it's more so of a lot of different parables. So it's basically filled with a whole bunch of parables, stories. So whatever chapter I turn to, it'll give me some type of story to kind of um, to relate to my situation now. So what I have come to is breaking this slate. I have come to the chapter of Alma. I didn't go to the beginning of the chapter of Alma, so this kind of in the middle of chapter Alma 63, 43, 25, 38. I need more light. Okay, here we go. Lamanites were marching round about in the wilderness, that they might come over into the land of Monte, that they might commence an attack upon the weaker part of the people. And those messengers went and delivered the message into Morani. Now Morani, leaving a part of his army in the land of Jershon, lest by any means a part of the Lamanites should come into that land and take possession of the city, took the remaining part of his army and marched over into the land of Monte. And he causeth that all the people in the quarter of the land should gather themselves together to battle against the Lamanites, to defend their land and their country, their rights and their liberties. Therefore they were prepared against it the time of the coming of the Lamanites. And it came to pass that Morani caused that his army should be segregated in the valley, basically like segregated into the valley which was near, or segregated, taken to the valley isolated, um, in their own private land, which was near the bank of the river Sidon, which was on the west of the river Sidon in the wilderness. And Morani placed spies round about, that he might know when the camp of the Lamanites should come. And now, as Morani knew the intention of the Lamanites, that it was their intention to destroy their brethren, or to subject them and bring them into bondage, that they might establish a kingdom unto themselves over all the land. And he also, knowing that it was the only desire of the Nephites to preserve their lands and their liberty and their church, therefore he thought it no sin that he should defend them by stratagem. Therefore he found by his spies which course the Lamanites were to take. Therefore he divided his army and brought a part over into the valley and concealed them on the east and on the south and on the hill Riplah. So basically, where you're at in your life, God is putting you into a private area, a private place, so that because you're under attack, people are coming in and trying to invade and take, you know, what's not meant for them to take. They're trying to take control of a situation. They're trying to take control of your lifestyle. They're trying to, come in and invade and, you know, take what's not meant. That's what's not theirs. So therefore, God is isolating you and putting you into this private place so that they have no access to you because you are under attack. And the remainder he concealed in the west valley in the west of the river Sidon, and so down into the borders of the land Monte. And this having placed his army according to his desire, he was prepared to meet them. And it came to pass that the Lamanites came upon the north of Hill, where a part of the army of Moroni was concealed. And as the Lamanites had passed the hill Riplah, and came into the valley, and began to cross the river Sidon, the army which was concealed, which was led by a man whose name was Lehi, and he led his army forth and encircled the Lamanites about on the east in their rear. So Wherever you are, you have some type of leader with you that is kind of guiding your situation and helping you. And it came to pass that the Lamanites, when they saw the Nephites coming upon them in their rear, turned them about and began to contend with the army of Lehi. And the work of death commenced on both sides, but it was more dreadful on the part of the Lamanites, for their nakedness was exposed to heavy blows. So you're feeling kind of vulnerable to the situation. A lot of people is going through what you're going through, but you're going through it more severely because you feel kind of naked, you feel vulnerable, and you feel um basic kind of like stripped of your dignity in a way, you could say. So you're receiving more of the heavy blows than everyone else. The Nephites with their swords and their scimitars, which brought death also almost at every stroke. While on the other hand, there was now and then a man fell among the Nephites by their swords in loss of blood. In the loss of blood, they being shielded from the more vital parts of the body, of the more vital parts of the blood of the body being shielded from the strokes of the Lamanites by their breastplates and their arm shields and their head plates. In this, the Nephites did carry on the work of death among the Lamanites. So this verse basically speaks about protection. There's a lot of wounds and a lot going on to where you're being wounded, but as long as you're shielded, you will come out of the battle to keep pursuing, your purpose and what God and God's plan. And it came to pass that the Lamanites became frightened because of the great destruction among them, even until they began to flee towards the river Sidon. And they were pursued by Lee and his men, and they were driven by Lee into the waters of Sidon. And they crossed the waters of Sidon, and Lehi retained his armies upon the bank of the river Sidon, that they should not cross. And it came to pass that Moroni and his army met the Lamanites in the valley on the other side of the river Sidon, and began to fall upon them and to slay them. And the Lamanites did flee again before them towards the land of Monti, and they were met again by the armies of Moroni. Now in the case of Lamanites did fly exceedingly, yet never had the Lamanites had no to fight with such exceedingly great strength and courage, no, not even from the beginning. And they were inspired by Zaramites and the Amalekites, who were their chief captains and leaders, and by Zarama, who was their chief captain and their chief leader and commander. Yea, they did fight like dragons, and many of Nephites were slain by their hands, yea, for they did smite into many of their head plates, and they did pierce many of their breastplates, and they did smite many of their arms. And this the Lamanites did smite in their fierce anger. So whatever you're going through, wherever your journey is taking you, um, you will be smited basically in your head plates. You'll lose some type of mentally you'll lose some type of knowledge. Something will happen to where, how you get a headache spiritually. What is that headache? You'll receive, like, in the physical realm, I say you'll receive a headache. In the spiritual realm, you know you'll lose wisdom. You'll be not knowing. You'll be blinded. So chest plates, they were wounded in their chest. Your heart posture, you'll lose a lot of love. There'll be a lot of hardness in your heart. Um, just like chest pain, in the physical realm, chest pain. You won't know what's going on with your chest. You feel compressed. In the spiritual realm, what's going on with your chest is more so of like a darkness. Um, you can't feel much affection towards the situation. And if you do, like, you can be experiencing some type of loss, some type of grief, um, towards the situation because of the battle. And I think that's about it. Slain in their hands could be, you know, let's say you work, and you receive this wound to where now you got to take days off work. You can't do what you do on a regular basis. You can't return to work. You have to wait. Um, Same thing as like when you're pursuing a talent, or you're working with your hands in any, art or any stuff like anything like that, you'll have to take time away from that and sacrifice it all. Put it all in God's hands because you're sacrificing your hands. Um, and like I said, the physical realm, this could look like you getting wounded in the hand. Something happened to your hand and it has to heal. So just think of it in a spiritual realm as the same way. Something is going on to where you have to, whatever you were doing with your hands is put on hold. Nevertheless, the Nephites were inspired by a better cause, for they were not fighting for monarchy nor power, but they were fighting for their homes and their liberties, their wives and their children in their all, yeah, for their rights or worship of their church. And they were doing that which they felt was the duty which they owed to their God. For the Lord hath said unto them and also unto their fathers, that insomuch as ye are not guilty on the first offense, neither the second, ye shall not suffer yourselves to be slain by the hands of your enemies. So we're gonna read that verse again. And they were doing that which they felt was the duty which they owed to their God. For the Lord had said unto them and also unto their fathers, that insomuch as ye are not guilty, don't feel guilty, don't pity yourselves, don't be down on yourselves about anything, of the first offense, neither of the second offense. Ye shall not suffer yourselves to be slain by the hands of your enemy. Don't suffer yourself. Don't be so down upon yourself to be slain by the hands of the enemy. When this all happens, don't guilt trip yourself. And again, the Lord has said that ye shall defend your families. God will defend your families. Don't beat yourself too much up about it. Even unto bloodshed. Therefore, for this cause were the Nephites contending with the Lamanites to defend themselves and their families and their lands, their country and their rights and their religion. A lot of people is fighting for the religion. A lot of people are fighting for, whatever is trying to be stripped of them. Just like, Trump bringing back segregation. What is this doing? This is only bringing. He's trying to segregate. While he's trying to segregate the whites and the blacks, This is actually bringing a lot of blacks closer. And they wasn't close before. Like if you think about it, before it was everybody like blacks was stepping away from blacks. Everybody was segregated to where individuals like I'm for myself. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I don't trust my own black person. I don't trust this white person. I don't trust this foreign person. I don't trust this. I don't trust nobody. But now, just because Trump is getting in the middle of it, he's bringing everybody else closer. He's basically in the midst of us separating ourselves from each other. He's bringing everybody back to where whites with whites, blacks with blacks. This is only basically restoring what was messed up, what was broken. We it's like a broken piece to a puzzle. Like this puzzle is a whole bunch of black pieces. This puzzle is a whole bunch of white pieces, and everybody's scattered. So it's like he's restoring, that group of blacks. He's putting all those black pieces back together, putting all these white pieces back together. And what happens after that? It just based off of our knowledge, we know that we have a choice in the matter. If we like this black person and we want to talk to this black, we at least we got experience. Like back in the day when segregation happened, they didn't have no experience with black people. The fact that they didn't have no experience with black people, they was more fearful of the situation. They didn't know how to approach a black person. They had, their experience was based on, oh, this black person is only meant for this. But now going back into it, now it's just like I got experience with this black person. So regardless if you segregate us or not, I have a choice in the matter. I have experience. I know what this black person is about. This black person is no different than me or you. It's just the color. So if you want to kind of go ahead and divide us, go ahead and divide us. But I will make a choice based off my experience. Just because he's segregating everybody doesn't mean you have to segregate yourself from the situation. You want to put this table over here for blacks and segregate whites. I'm gonna be a white person. I'm gonna go over here with this black person because I got experience with you and I know that you was my friend once upon a time. So now it's my choice. The people now is in this matter. It's about the choice. What is your choice to the matter? What will you do? Now that you got experience with us, now it's about your choice. Now it's about your intention. That will move you. Around this situation. So like I said, black people, and it's a different experience. You can't. What's the saying? You can't put old wineskin. You can't put new wineskin. You can't put new wine into old wineskins, and that's basically what Trump is doing. And you're not going to get the same result. So, and it came to pass that they turned upon the Lamanites, and they cried with one voice unto the Lord their God for their liberty and their freedom from bondage. And they began to stand against the Lamanites with power. And in that self same hour that they cried unto the Lord for their freedom, and Lamanites began to flee before them, and they fled even into the waters of Sidon. Now the Lamanites were more numerous, yet by more than double the number of the Nephites. Nevertheless, they were driven. I want to kind of like I would like to kind of just, based off of my spiritual wisdom, when it talks about the rivers, like if I kind of turn this into a spiritual visualization, then more based on the physical realm, is like, okay, so when they say they fleed into the waters of Sidon. You will visualize, okay, the waters of Sidon, a river, a ocean, a pond, a riverbank, a stream, something of that sort. You would think, but if you think about it spiritually, what does waters mean? And spiritually, what does water mean? It means in emotions. They fleed into their emotions. They flee to what they were feeling. You know, so that's kind of how I would interpret that part. Lamanites began to flee before them, and they flee even the waters of Sidon. They fled even to the waters of Sidon. Now then, that's just my little idea. Now the Lamanites were more numerous, yeah, by more than double the number of the Nephites. Nevertheless, they were driven, insomuch that they were gathered together in the body of the valley upon the bank by the river Sidon. Therefore the armies of Morani encircled them about, yea, even on both sides of the river. For behold, on the east were the men of Lehi. Therefore, when Zeramnah saw the men of Lehi on the east of the river Sidon, and the armies of Morani on the west of the river Sidon, that they were encircled about by the Nephites, they were struck with terror. Now Morani, so they basically became captured in a way. I'm in the corner now. I'm in the corner to where I can't. I'm being cornered basically, and they were struck with terror. Now Morani, when he saw their terror, commanded his men that they should stop shedding their blood. So based off their fear and being cornered, it took for their leader to stop them. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Let it be. Um, so yeah, a lot of y'all will be struck with terror. Y'all will be cornered and y'all wouldn't know what to do. And basically you surrender. You're surrender. Okay, I don't know what to do. You're being put in a position to surrender. And sometimes it can't, I mean, not all situations like this is a bad thing. When you surrender to something, it's basically just like bringing down your ego. You know, it's bringing down your pride. And sometimes it takes for this. Just imagine that this person standing there like, okay, that's enough. That's God. What if that's God? Putting, you decide not to listen. You're not listening. You're not obeying. And it takes for me to get my army of all my righteous angels to attack you to the where now you're being courted and you're like, and this is like the devil's children, like, okay, okay, okay. And then God's like, okay, that's enough. Obviously they understand, let them be now. So it can go in that way. And if you are, if you're on the verge of, being a Christ-like person, but you keep going back to your sin, or you keep doing this and you just keep going back and keep going back, and God is basically God is putting you in a position to make a decision. So it's like, now I'm gonna corner you with all of these things. And it's your decision on what you're gonna do from here. And you're being courted and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, where should I go? What should I turn to? It's so much around me that I feel like I need to surrender. And it's very surrender as you giving it up to the Lord. And the Lord is like, okay, you're so battered in the head, you're so confused by everything that's around you that you're just sitting in the corner like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And God hears you. This is from, a spiritual sense. God hears you and like, okay, I hear her, I hear her, I hear him, and comes down and, press down the situation, take all of that from your mind and says, okay, have you had enough? You know? So yeah, that was that chapter. That's what that chapter gave off. If you're going through anything of what I was talking about, you can kind of relate to my message, then this was a message for you. Like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share at your own free will to show you here. Bye.